It's difficult to be perfect every time because the world is undergoing very rapid and massive changes.
兄弟们，干了这杯酒，诛杀孙贼，报效朝廷。
要极限东山了没？要极限，要极限，要极限。
4天之后，我们把命都拼了。
好。
I have stayed in Tampines for the past 12 years, but I have never seen my MP in my life.
Don't forget that SMRT and SBS Transit are raking in million-dollar profits every year. Our various proposals include tighter regulations on fare hikes and service standard. Right now, we are paying more to get into overcrowded trains and buses. We also propose scraping ERP on public buses since the costs are passed to consumers. And as a compassionate society, we should have concession passes for the elderly to include all operating hours.
Instead of ensuring that our people had good access to quality doctors, hospitals and medicines at prices they can afford, they sold our hospitals so that now they make a profit from our sickness. And now they charge us $3.50 for the privilege of using our Medisave for our health care.
As one of the residents of Nee told us, he will vote for the hammer because he can trust us to ketuk kepala kerajaan, to knock some sense into the head of the government. We are here because we want to be the voice of Singaporeans and not the PAP to answer serious questions.
不管牺牲多少人，我们都要坚持1个小时。这1个小时，就是我们10万万同胞的希望。
Last year, our GDP grew by 14.5%. But Singaporeans' median household income increased by only 3.1%. Where did the 11% go? The Workers' Party has a different economic philosophy. We believe that men cannot live by GDP alone. The increase in Singapore's GDP has to benefit most Singaporeans. What we want to do is to grow the income of all Singaporeans and not only the top 10 or 20%.
One Straits Times Forum letter writer thought that there was glamour in being an opposition politician. But no, there's no glamour in it. Yes, there is some attention for a very short period during the general election, but the 5 years in between elections is all about dedicated work with little notice. I have gone door-to-door house visits in Aljunied once a week, almost every week, for nearly 8 years. There is no media coverage of this. There is no media coverage of this, but neither do I want it, because that is not the purpose of our visits.
The PAP candidate for Marine Parade, Tim Pei Ling, has announced a pledge to tell hawkers to keep their prices down for 6 months. This to me speaks of a government that cannot even see the root of the problem. You tell the hawkers to keep their prices down, but you let rental go up. You don't keep a cap on their raw materials, and you expect them to keep the price like that. Then who is going to absorb the burden? What is going to happen to these hawkers? Don't they need to run a business too?
Residents, voters, over the last few weeks, I have been on the ground meeting with residents, yourselves. I've walked more than 30 blocks, that's 1/3 of the ground in Macpherson. I've visited each market at least twice. Some of the residents even recognized me and said, "I recognize you. I saw you at the market," even as I visited them in their own residence.
I came into opposition politics about 2 years ago because I was unhappy with the way things were going. I wanted to reclaim this country as our home and what it stood for. I wanted to make sure that no one gets left behind. Call me idealistic, but this is what I will fight for all of you and for the rest of my life.
Just take this area around us in Macpherson. Mr. Matthias Yao has done a lot for Macpherson. We have upgraded the housing estates, built extensive linkway to the MRT station because we care for our residents. We know that having a covered linkway will help the old, the young, and the mothers who bring our young children to the MRT station to take the train or public transport. Almost all our blocks have undergone lift upgrading. Even the 2 remaining blocks, Block 107 and Block 110, Mr. Matthias Yao has gotten the approval to proceed. And I'm happy to announce that the first working committee will commence after the GE.
Many Singaporeans keep bringing this up, but nothing gets done. The first group, stay-at-home parents, 家庭主妇，他们经常都被我们的政府政策给遗忘。Workfare bonus is only meant for people with an income. As an inclusive society, have we forgotten stay-at-home parents who do not earn an income? Have we forgotten them? These stay-at-home parents or homemakers have chosen to stay at home, take care of the house and family, so that other members of the family can go out to work and attend school, and have piping hot meals to serve them when they come home. They are the CEO of the house, but they are given none or very little recognition for their valuable contribution to home and society. 我们的家庭主妇付出很多，可是他们被我们的政府的政策给遗忘了。They have chosen a noble profession that is no less important than any salaried job. They have often put their careers on hold to nurture the next generation. They should not be forgotten. The Workers' Party proposes that stay-at-home parents should receive the same infant care and child care subsidy as other working mothers.
Penny low! Penny low! Penny low!
Our inclusive society also forgot the second group of people. They are the single parents, 单身家庭, who are Singapore citizens and whose daughter and son will bear and nurture future generations as well as serve national service. Did you know that single parents are not allowed to purchase new HDB flats? The only option available to them right now is to wait until they are age 35 and above to buy a resale flat, which is often very expensive. But to Mr. Mabao Tan, that is affordable. I believe the government can provide more housing options for them, such as 2-room or 3-room flat. Regardless of marital status, all parents love and want to provide their children with the best they possibly can. Some single parents need caregivers too, but they are excluded from tax relief, caregiver relief, and maid levy relief. Babies from single parents are also not eligible for baby bonus. While having children outside of marriage should continue to be discouraged in our society, children born to single parents should not be denied the benefits that children of married parents receive. The children are innocent parties and should not start life being disadvantaged. Single parents should receive the same parenthood benefit packages as married parents.
Daniel Puducherry! Johnny Puducherry! Johnny Puducherry! Gan tiempo! Gan tiempo! Gan tiempo!
First, he accused the Workers' Party of wanting to be a co-driver instead of simply a spare tire sitting in the boot. I responded that the co-driver is there to slap the driver when he drives off course and when he falls asleep or drives dangerously. Now he said, how often do you see a car driven by two drivers fighting with each other for the wheel? How many times, I must say, before someone from the PAP will understand that a co-driver does not fight for the wheel. He supports and advises the driver from time to time and to make sure that he's alert and well enough to complete the journey. A commercial plane is flown by two pilots. Are they going to fight for the wheel? No. They have one common goal: to bring the plane and its passengers safely to its destination. He also digressed from our intention of slapping awake and sleeping driver to hair pulling and kicking. This is typical of the PAP attitude. They will never understand the concept of co-driver. They want all of us to just leave it to one driver, no matter how the driver behaves. Even if the driver decides to take a risky turn, which may endanger you and your children's life.
I also know that I have to do my job far better now, not as an incentive to productivity, but because my employer is waiting for the chance to throw me out of that job, to bring someone in for whom he doesn't have to pay CPF and lose 2 weeks of their work for reservist training. Now, when I go for lunch, my food has gone up in price. Gone up because rising rentals have forced our hawkers to put up our lunch. The average monthly rent of a hawker stall in Singapore is $2,000, which means that they have to sell 70 plates of food every day before they even start to make a profit. When I return to the office at the end of the day, I know I will have to work until 7, 8 o'clock because I have to keep reminding my boss that he shouldn't sack me and bring in someone else. And then when I go home, it takes me 2 hours to go home because our roads are jammed by those 7,000 people in each 3,000 square feet and the 1 million vehicles that we have on our roads. We know, therefore, that yet another of their policies, the road pricing system, is not working.
And one thing that troubles me very greatly is how high the ministers' salaries are. Now, the Workers' Party's position is that the ministers' salaries should not be pegged to the private sector like it is done now. Instead, we should benchmark the pay looking at the political office holders in other first world countries. If you look at countries of similar size elsewhere, Finland, Norway, Denmark, New Zealand, they are countries with healthy democracies and they are well run. All these countries pay political office holders just a fraction of what the PAP ministers pay themselves. We should benchmark against these countries. But the PAP doesn't agree with that. Their formula is to pay ministers 2/3 of the average of the top 48 earners in Singapore. Is that valid? Can we say that each and every minister in the cabinet now would have been a top earning banker, accountant, lawyer, engineer, or CEO? Isn't it possible that some of the ministers are now actually doing better in the cabinet than they will be doing in their previous careers?
The opposition has been criticized for populist policies. We said that the middle class was affected by the policies. We said that public housing is too expensive. We said that wages remain stagnant throughout the years. We said that the leaders need to be accountable for their policies. In the past 5 years, the PAP has not said or done anything to address all of this until the past week. My question to them is, where were you the past 5 years? Where were you when the people of Singapore needed you the most?
Do not be afraid. Show that you are true Singaporeans. You are brave. You fear nothing. I have stood in 7 elections, won them all, and have not got into trouble. And the people who voted for me also did not get into trouble.
So we didn't get it perfect. And I appreciate and I sympathize with Singaporeans when they tell me and they tell the government repeatedly that this is impacting us, affecting us. Do something about it. Well, we are sorry we didn't get it exactly right, but I hope you will understand and bear with us because we are trying our best to fix the problems.
Can you leave one last year for me? Kyo Salak! Kyo Salak! Kyo Salak! PAP! PAP! PAP!
Ladies and
Let
gentlemen,
me invite DPM Teo to help, to cheer for all of us, for the team of Pasir Ris Punggol GRC and Sengkang West SMC.
Please vote for us.